officially, I'm the Chief of School Leadership, also known as the Chief Schools Officer in Dallas Independent School District. And I am essentially responsible for the performance on every one of our 225 campuses. So when everything goes great, you know, I have great principals and I have great teachers. When things don't go great, then there's something I needed to have done differently. That's the way it is when you're in a central office position from my perspective.
And so can you tell me a little bit about how long you've done that and what your experience has been like, and both the good times and the bad times, I suppose?
Sure. So I've been with Dallas since the summer of 2011. However, I took the helm of this chief position in 2015. And we started off with, I looked a little bit into your background, so I know you've been traveling a lot of places. So I don't know how familiar or how long you've been in Texas with our school accountability system, but under the new system, what would be called an F campus, the old system would have been called the improvement required campuses. And when I took the helm, we had 43 improvement required schools. And today we have 7. And so we were really looking forward to our state assessment because we were working to get to 0. And then we work on the next level and continue to ensure that students have an opportunity to be educated in the finest educational setting possible, regardless of what community they live in. And so that's what I've dedicated my work to in Dallas ISD, and previous to that in San Antonio ISD, and previous to that Southwest ISD, a smaller district, but still in the San Antonio area. And so that's kind of what I've done.
And I suppose then, how did that help you sort of in this process with AISD? Did you share that? And do you think that kind of gives you a leg up?
Well, as I looked at the superintendent profile that was put together, certainly by the consulting group, but really reflected many of the community meetings that I was able to just kind of listen in on as they were developing the profile, you know, the experience that the team was looking for, someone who has systems thinking, who has produced some outcomes. And I want to be very clear, none of the outcomes that I can point to on my resume were an act of any individual. They were a team effort, and I'm very humbled to have been able to bring teams together to be able to accomplish what we've done thus far in Dallas ISD. Equity, I know, is a real big issue or you know, something we want to grapple with in Austin, and that is absolutely who I am and how I lead. One of my tenets is excellence and equity in education for all students, and I put all in all caps. And so that's near and dear to my heart. So when I saw the profile, when I got caught back up on Austin comings and goings, it just seemed like the right fit for me at the right time.
What in particular, when you were doing your homework, caught your eye in terms of solving and discussing equity at Austin ISD?
You know, I think the fact that we have such high performing schools in Austin, I mean, there's so many areas that we can point to islands of excellence. And to be able to be part of a system where I can add value to that, but expand that so that we live by the mantra, one or a few exemplary schools does not an exemplary district make. So borrowing from our own internal successes in our district and utilizing those and leveraging those to ensure we have that kind of excellence in all of our campuses just seems to be, again, the way in which you can go about equity. Equity can cause us to pit one against another, or it can cause us to be reflective and take action so that we see betterment for all of the students that we serve. And that's my goal.
The specific groups and lots of people in Austin have, you know, gone on the record and vocalized disappointment. They've said that there's been a lack of transparency. They feel like they're being left in the dark, or they're not, giving a platform to share their piece. Do you have any plans to be present within the next 3 weeks before anything goes forward? Do you want to talk to these people or say anything to them?
It is absolutely a part of my entry plan to engage with as many of the stakeholders in our community, including those groups you've referenced, as quickly as possible. Of course, I have to ensure that I've really managed my entry plan with our board of trustees. I serve at the will of the board. And so visiting with them, they have already asked how quickly can I get started prior to the official 21 days. I'm very fortunate that in my current situation, I have a superintendent who has mentored and coached me as well, and therefore has also planned for the eventual need for me to transition within the next few days as quickly as possible. So my intention is absolutely to get to that. I think listening is one of the most important components. I don't learn anything when I talk. I only learn when I'm listening to other folks. And sometimes that listening isn't always easy to do, because sometimes I'm going to hear some things that are going to not feel good. And that's exactly why we have to listen, because sometimes those conversations are uncomfortable.
We've been talking mainly about Austin in a AISD in a historical context, but I'd like to ask you about the present, which obviously is a pandemic, and we're entering a new school year with a lot of uncertainty. So do you have any specific plans or any ideas that you feel like are ready or you'd like to reveal regarding AISD or for the families there?
So you're not going to throw me all softballs here today, Alex. I certainly have ideas, but ideas are only as good as the people who really are invested in them. And I really do buy into site-based decision making. The decisions are implemented at a local level. So while I have ideas, many of which are not so dissimilar from what I'm already becoming familiar with in terms of how we're opening up in Austin ISD, I have ideas that, again, I would want to share with others and gather their input. Many times I don't actually even say this is the plan, but rather these are the parameters, and then let folks help create the plan. I live by another little mantra called people support what they help to create. So my boss trained me on consensus decisions are messy, and they take a long time, but the implementation is far more successful. You do command decisions, you come in and just, this is the way we're going to do it. Even if it's a great decision, again, I'm not implementing it at 129 campuses, encompassing somewhere nearly, 17 high schools at 13 community areas. So really listening to how that implementation is being viewed is far more important than whether I have a plan.
That's very, I think it sounds like you have a very team-oriented approach with most everything. Get other people involved, and let's see what we can come up with.
Well, since I did spend a little bit of time in San Antonio, there was the year that the Spurs beat LeBron. And I use that actually as an example many times, because you know what? 5 beat LeBron every day of the week and twice on Sundays. So team to me is vital. It is absolutely the success. I have this opportunity to be a part of Austin ISD because of principals and teachers who have worked with me. If I had not had them, if they were not successful, I wouldn't have this opportunity. So I'm truly indebted to all of the people that have worked with me before to even be here having this interview with you. It's very surreal to me. I'm very humbled and I'm very honored.
Well, thank you very much. Is there anything else that you would want to say that I didn't get a chance to ask you?
I'm just looking forward to getting to the capital city. So
did I read that you are a UT grad?
I am. Okay, my doctorate from UT Austin and my undergrad at UT San Antonio.
So anything in particular you're excited to experience again here in Austin?
You know, I am gonna be happy to walk onto the campus and have fun instead of always being on campus doing work on the dissertation. So I'm looking forward to the time when we'll be back out of this pandemic and we can really enjoy a variety of some of those activities at the university level.